Cameron, jaw-dropping break of protocol, frankly, from somebody so senior in the military, all about orders, all about discipline, all about custom and tradition. The Queen would be enraged.
Absolutely. This is unprecedented. And General Sir Mike Jackson would have had many meetings with the monarch, all of which would have been
because she's Commander-in-Chief.
Very secret. She was Commander-in-Chief. She would have been privy to all information that MI6 had, MI5, the British Army, that she would have been across all the details. So she would have known just how dangerous perhaps Afghanistan was for all soldiers serving in the British Army at that time. But she said, and this is the quote, according to Sir Mike Jackson, they must do their duty. And wasn't Queen Elizabeth II just the symbol of duty?
Absolutely.
So perhaps that is why she wanted her two grandsons to do their duty and fight, because, of course, they were both in the army. William was commissioned as an army officer in 2006, Household Cavalry 2008. We know, of course, that Prince Harry fought 2 tours of Afghanistan, as he speaks at length in his memoir Spare, killing 25 Taliban fighters, referring to them as chess pieces, etc., which has clearly caused some controversy. But the decision was taken that because Prince William was heir to the throne, it was simply too dangerous for him to serve in Afghanistan on the front line. He did make a very secret 3-hour visit, according to Clarence House back then, back in 2008, to visit Afghanistan. But in terms of serving on the front line, it was deemed too dangerous, unlike for Prince Harry, where it was seen that the risk was acceptable. But it's not the first time the heir to the throne, couldn't serve on the front line. Charles, when he was Prince of Wales, was not allowed to serve on the front line of the Falklands War, so it's not unprecedented.
George VI also wanted to join the Normandy landings, but Winston Churchill absolutely said that is not going to happen. He was our king during the war, of course, and so because I think George V was involved. Edward VIII was involved in the First World War in some form. How will this play with Harry in California? Are we going to get more outpouring of victimhood? Even my grandmother thought I was dispensable and my brother wasn't.
Well, that is a point that he makes in his book, Spare, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of course, he talks about the fact that he was always the second fiddle, I suppose, to his brother William, that he was allowed to take the risk and his brother wasn't allowed to take the risk. But, I mean, I have to ask the question, if Prince Harry wasn't allowed to serve in Afghanistan, I can very much see a situation where he was essentially perhaps complaining about that in his book, saying that he wasn't allowed to do his duty. He wasn't allowed to be just plain old Harry, as he refers to himself in the book. He wanted to be an ordinary person. He was very, very disappointed when he was pulled out of the first tour of Afghanistan due to the media embargo being broken. There was the
not
media,
by us, by the way.
Not by us.
It was in Australia.
It was a foreign publication which gave it away that Prince Harry was serving on the front line. It was meant to be secret. But for his safety, he was pulled out. But as we've said, it is too dangerous, perhaps, for the heir to the throne to serve on the front line.
I think it's not. This story is front page of the Sun, by the way. I don't think this story is a huge shock that William wasn't allowed to go, because the risk was huge. I mean, the risk with Harry was huge enough. But there's a precedent with Andrew as well. Andrew served in the Falklands.
He did.
Again, the spare, if you like. I mean, the two black sheep of the family. So it's not like, this is unusual. This does happen. Yeah. So if Harry does come out and start having another whinge or gets another book out of it, anything's possible.
I mean, to me, I think it's the fact that he's broken protocol to say this in an ITV documentary, because it is unprecedented that you would reveal details of exactly what the monarch said to you. And the fact that Queen Elizabeth has, Charles has only been king, a few 6-7 months, something like that. I think the Queen would not have been too happy, personally, if she knew that Sir Mike Jackson has broken that protocol.
I imagine the King, next time he has an audience with that particular gentleman, if he does, will make his view quite clear. Because it is astonishing. There were, of course, 450 soldiers and servicemen and women killed in Afghanistan.
Yeah, absolutely.
We shouldn't forget that.
Yeah.
And, of course, many of them suffered life-changing injuries too.
Yes, and members of the royal family have supported the charities who are supporting those soldiers. Yes.
And to be fair, Harry's Invictus Games does support those.
It's a brilliant charity. I don't have a lot of good things to say about Harry, but Invictus Games are brilliant.